Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Ripple XRP as well as Quant Network, or QNT. Now, I do have quite a bit of things to talk about in regards to both of these assets. Of course, we're going to be talking about, a few things that I've been seeing in my comments, as well as, a few things I've been seeing on Twitter and stuff like that. But I want to talk to you guys closely about these two assets because they're doing incredible things together. Of course, I don't need to tell you guys that because you guys could pretty much see that within the Digital Pound Foundation stuff. But of course, we're going to be talking about it. Okay, we're going to be talking about that stuff and addressing that stuff as well. But before we fully jump into this video, I just want to ask if you guys could possibly leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow, and I do greatly appreciate it. Also, if you guys can, or if you guys are new to the channel, I should say, definitely consider subscribing and turning notifications on, as it does help the channel grow as well. Now, with a lot of the market, first off, we're watching Bitcoin kind of just get rejected at 60K. We're waiting for, a validation point on Bitcoin to pretty much range above $60,000. Of course, until we do get to that point, we're not going to be seeing too much price movement on XRP or on QNT, which I should say QNT has been losing some market dominance. Honestly, we've been pretty much just ranging down here at about number 65 now. Pretty much just dropping the ball. I know a lot of people are probably like, dude, what is going on with this asset, man? And trust me, I know. Things are looking pretty rough. The price chart does not look good. We have to zoom out a little bit though. Okay, because now we're coming down to a significant point, which is like around the $220 range down here. Okay, and we're looking back here at the stage, and the stage was set down here at about like $180, pretty much exact, before we flew to about 400 and some dollars. This was back in September. So, from there, we pretty much had to come down and retest a major support zone and pretty much bottom out before the next major point up, which, of course, we will get to that point. I'm just going to say it right now, though. The price chart for QNT does not look good. In terms of the 1 month span, we are still seeing accumulation happening within the holders tab. We've been pretty much growing with that. On the 3 month span, you could really kind of see that. And of course, in terms of the price right now, I'm not too focused on the price. I'm just more so focused on the fundamentals. I think that QNT is going to thrive, especially by the end of this bull run. I know that the sentiment right now is fairly bearish on the price, but don't let it, concern you too much. Now, I do want to talk to you guys about some updates within the market on QNT, as well as talk to you guys about XRP as well. In terms of QNT, we're seeing here some of the entities that have nodes deployed on LAC chain: BNDES, Citibank, Everest, Inter-American Development Bank, and Multi-Ledgers. If you don't understand how big this QNT partnership is, I suggest that you take the night to do some research on LAC Chain. And of course, if you guys missed it, LAC Chain and QNT are essentially working together, and here's that massive ecosystem. Of course, this is pretty big. This will pretty much connect a ton of things together. Like I said, QNT is going to be the network of networks, and a lot of people kind of compare QNT to XRP. I just want you guys to understand that there's no reason to do so. XRP being the on-demand liquidity bridge asset for a lot of the banks out there and financial institutions. We talk about notional Vostro accounts. QNT is not going to solve the notional Vostro account problem. XRP is the only asset in the space that could essentially do that. So these are two completely different use cases, by the way. But we also see here QNT. I have to be honest, something like that has never been done before in financial services. QNT's CEO in 2018, get an app live on Ethereum, takes a few hours. QNT will be compliant, highly secure, and scalable. And if you guys missed this, listen closely.
Yeah, so there's only 14.4 million quant that's been minted. So we sold 9.9 million in total, and then the company has I think it's 4.4 or something along those lines. So that's the reserve, and the staff and vendors and suppliers and that sort of thing. So our approach is so we call it a treasury function. So this is to power that ecosystem. So when people hold quant, they need to hold it to be a developer, to be a user, to run the applications, to access the ecosystem. So we're building that model that, and I have to be honest, it's new. This has never been done in previous systems, in financial networks, and from an economics point of view, the supply demand is different. The utility of it is new. This is a whole new area. So we're building that out now and getting it ready for the App Store, so that's going to be released for next year. And so the idea is, how do we build the features within the treasury function to manage that supply demand? How does the market set the price of what you need to run applications? How many quant is that? How many dollar value is that, or pound value? And how does that ecosystem work? So buying and selling and using, how does it get back into the ecosystem? So we're working, we've got a SWAT team really to sort this out. So we've got economists, we've got lawyers, we've got our advisors from academia, from startups, from corporates, from banks. We've got a team of probably about 10, 12 people now tackling this because it's new. I don't know anyone in the world that's solved this easily.
Sure.
And it's very important for us to make that user experience, that user journey quite seamless, because you don't want to have a complicated friction, you got to do.
And of course, when we're talking about this, right, like, don't get me wrong, QNT is going to be absolutely massive. I've always said, QNT is going to be at least $100,000 coin at scale and at utility cases in terms of a utility-driven market, right? And trust me, I'm extremely bullish on QNT. I just don't understand why people are looking at QNT and XRP and comparing them to. For an example, we look at here, right? You guys know XRP fanboys motto, all the money. Quant goes for all the money as well. Early statement from QNT CEO, the derivatives market is 1.2 quadrillion, which we actually know is 2.7 quadrillion. And we do see here a regulated derivatives exchange slash map will be a great demonstration of what is capable with Overledger. And of course, we do see here how much bigger is the derivatives market, which we know that it is 2.7 trillion or quadrillion from what we've read within the XRP white papers and stuff. But we also see here, plus QNT recently mentioned in the CBDC white paper for the MIT that they will go for the Forex market as well. Daily volume, $5 trillion. Once they got implemented with CBDCs, they also will catch percentage of these markets, right? Now, I just want to express the idea that when we're talking about XRP and we're talking about QNT, we always look at the solutions. First off, I don't like to compare two assets. I don't like to say, hey, QNT is going to kill Ripple or XRP. QNT is going to kill this asset. QNT is going to be, killing that asset, whatever. I don't like to do that because a lot of this market that we're talking about, there's so much for a lot of these assets to thrive and have a slice of the pie and eat at the table as well. XRP, compared to what QNT is trying to do, is two different things. Think of QNT as being the plumbing of, the future of finance, the future of networks as well, the future of pretty much everyday life, because it is going to be the network of networks that connects pretty much everything. QNT is the interoperability bridge, and XRP is also a bridge asset. Okay, it's bridging fiat to fiat, of course, but XRP isn't. That's one of the main use cases, but XRP is going for the on-demand liquidity base point. It's going to be focused more so on eliminated pre-funded accounts, focusing more so on Nasho Vasho accounts, which is $27 trillion, and pretty much becoming the liquidity bridge or the liquidity asset for banks and financial institutions. But we also see our Overledger for Ripple. Okay, which of course Ripple could leverage Overledger, pretty much technology. We do see here, who is this for? Companies and developers that want to create apps which use the Ripple network. How does it work? Overledger provides standard API for working with Ripple. So again, customers do not need their own Ripple nodes or, to learn the low-level interfaces, formats, and cryptography that are usually involved in developing applications for Ripple. And why, of course, Ripple is typically used for cross-border payments and movement of funds. It is also used for other use cases, but is primarily a financial network. Now, of course, within this, we also talk about the fact that will Ripple need to use Overledger? They are using Interledger Protocol right now for interoperability, but will Interledger Protocol at some point in time, be built on, or I should say connected with Overledger? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But of course, in terms of QNT and XRP, we also look at what they are utilizing, being utilized for at the same point in time. For example, we look at the Digital Pound Foundation. We know that they are working with Ripple and also QNT. In fact, they're working with both of these assets, and I did not mean to click that. They're working with both of these assets as QNT is being the interoperability bridge, essentially, with, of course, Ripple. And these two, like I said, when we're talking about comparing two assets together, like one's going to kill the other one, these two are labeled here for a reason. They are working together throughout this entire process. And of course, so is ETN. And of course, we don't talk about Avalanche, of course, but Avalanche isn't really being brought in as part of the process. Of course, we do see Gilbert Verdian. We also see Susan Friedman. And there's a few other people as well from both of these teams, and there's a ton of named individuals here. But these assets are working together to streamline the adoption and innovation that's happening within these scenes. Now, of course, we do see our World Economic Forum releases findings of interoperability. XRP is an example in Bhutan CBDC. Now, of course, they didn't need QNT during this process. They are utilizing XRP as an example here for interoperability. And of course, Interledger Protocol probably has a base point here. It could also be QNT. They're not mentioned, of course, in this article, but I'm just saying, with interoperability being the key success point for a lot of these financial institutions and banks out there, QNT and XRP should both be looked at, and they should both be in your portfolio because they're not going to kill each other. But we also see here QNT with SCI, of course, is pretty big. I've always talked about SIA Chain, of course, Quant Network, and SIA successfully tested blockchain interoperability. Like I said, interoperability is a huge key point here, and of course, Overledger technology is huge. But again, this is 580 European network nodes, 570 plus banks, which we've talked about in the past, and of course, we're talking about R3 Corda and private Ethereum platforms. Major use cases, especially within interoperability challenges, they're pretty much going to be focusing on that. The partnership launched between Quant Network and SIA that allows mostly banks and financial institutions through the SIA chain infrastructure to adopt cross-platform and interoperable blockchain solutions. But I want you guys to understand that this isn't for cross-border payments. This isn't for transactions in general. It's just for interoperability connections. And of course, when we're talking about that, it's going to be a bridge for them to really kind of transact with. And of course, they are talking about in order to have cross-border platform applications and services covering the, for example, notarization, payments, and know your customer. But there still needs to be that asset to settle these payments and transactions. And you could argue that QNT could, but I would say it's more so, think of QNT as being the, API bridge for these. But of course, I've always talked about SIA Chain and SIA itself. SIA is huge. And of course, we talk about, R3 as well. A lot of things here in terms of, it's already live with 100 Italian banks representing 91% of the nation's banks. Again, this is pretty huge. So, don't get me wrong, QNT is going to be absolutely massive. Look at API Gateway. Of course, API Gateway is the huge name here. And we're talking about Hyperledger Fabric here, Corda, and Ethereum. QNT is going to be the network of networks. So we've always discussed this, and of course we talk about ODAP with Nexus. Here's the digital assets network of networks. Like I said, QNT is the interoperability essentially choice of all of these financial institutions and banks. XRP is focused on completely different use cases. Don't get me wrong, they will most likely grasp all the money together. Like I said, if Ripple is leveraging Overledger technology, all the money that flows through, RippleNet products like the on-demand liquidity service will also flow over QNT, which provides value for not only one asset but both assets. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? Like when we're talking about what's happening around the world, especially with the Digital Pound Foundation, which should be a clear sign that these two assets are working together to provide these major use cases. It should be a clear sign that these two assets are going to thrive as we do march forward on in time. Now we also see here Bank of England's next RTGS system is going to be blockchain compatible. There will be a need to be a technology that allows the BOE to communicate with DLT. Of course, we do see here Overledger is the only interoperability solution that can do this today through a single DLT API. I just want you guys to understand that, right? It allows the BOE to communicate with DLT technologies. It's going to allow the interoperability between, a major bank with, for an example, something like XRP. And I've always discussed when we're talking about QNT and XRP, these are two huge assets in terms of the digital pound. So this is the use case behind the digital pound, okay? So understand how big this is actually going to be. Like I said, Overledger, or I should say QNT itself, because Overledger technology is QNT essentially, it's providing the bank, okay? So if I was a bank and I wanted to communicate with, for example, XRP, I would need QNT. QNT will be the DOT API to plug Overledger in with Ripple that would allow that bank to communicate with, the XRP ledger to communicate with all other, CBDCs, which again, all other CBDCs, whatever DOT they are choosing, will most likely be connected through Overledger. Because again, it all bleeds back to this, where we do see R3 Corda, Hyperledger Fabric, the Ethereum network. Most DLTs out there are already within the Hyperledger Fabric scene or Corda and stuff like that. That's why QNT, it's so huge at scale. At scale in terms of all these cross-border payments and stuff, we're talking about the derivatives market being $2.7 quadrillion, Nostro Vostro accounts being $27 trillion. The amount of money that flows on a day-to-day basis around the world, even in the Forex market, is like $5 trillion a day, like they said. We even look at the Swift GPI. All of that money is going to flow over DLT technologies in the future, especially once we do see digitization at scale and at pure adoption, like 100% adoption. That's why the utility-driven market is so huge for an asset like QNT. People talk about Bitcoin going to $1 million. I'd honestly argue the fact that QNT will most likely hit $1 million before Bitcoin. And the reason why I say that is because QNT, in terms of what it's actually building, and of course, the argument point for that is, when do we see a utility-driven market? Do we see a utility-driven market before Bitcoin ever does touch, $500,000 or $1 million? Because if we do, then yes, 100% QNT will be $1 million before Bitcoin. But we obviously have to wait for that. We have to wait to see what happens. But I will say this, okay? A utility market is coming. We just don't know when it will fully be adopted into crypto, because right now we are still under Bitcoin's, helm. So with that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.